Have you ever sat down at the dinner table with a perfectly grilled piece of fish, golden at the edges, soft inside, maybe with a squeeze of lemon, and thought to yourself, "This must be good for me"? That's exactly what most women I meet believe. Fish feels light, healthy, safe. It's the food doctors have praised for decades, rich in protein, full of omega-3s, the so-called miracle nutrient for the heart and brain. But what if I told you that the very fish you've trusted for years could be quietly harming you? What if every bite, even that small weekly portion, was slowly feeding something your body can't get rid of anymore? Something that doesn't just affect your heart, but your memory, your mood, and even how clearly you think every morning. I know that sounds hard to believe, but this is not a theory, it's medical fact. According to the Mayo Clinic and the NIH, some of the most popular fish on the market today carry high levels of mercury and industrial chemicals, the same ones linked to memory loss, nerve damage, and heart rhythm problems. And here's what's most unfair. No one ever told you that your body after 60 can't handle toxins the same way it once did. When you were 30 or 40, your liver and kidneys worked like perfect filters. But now those filters slow down. Your immune system weakens just a bit. Your body becomes more sensitive to what goes in, especially heavy metals like mercury. And mercury doesn't leave quickly. It stays. It hides in your tissues, especially your brain and nerves, building up silently month after month until you start feeling older than you really are. Maybe you've noticed it already, that mental fog in the morning, that extra fatigue after meals, those little moments of forgetfulness you brush off as aging. But what if it's not just age? What if it's what's on your plate? I've seen it over and over again with my own patients. One of them, a 68-year-old retired teacher named Margaret, came to me heartbroken. She said, "Dr. Lisa, I've done everything right. I eat fish twice a week. I walk every morning, but I still feel tired and forgetful." When we ran her tests, her mercury levels were double the healthy range, and she didn't even know. All from the type of fish she thought was helping her stay young. So before you have your next seafood dinner, I need you to hear this. Not all fish are created equal. Some are pure, nourishing, and protective. But others, especially 6 common ones, are toxic traps disguised as healthy choices. I'm Dr. Lisa Perriera, a gynecologist, with over 30 years of experience helping women through menopause and beyond. And today, I'm going to show you exactly which 6 fish women over 60 should never eat and which ones you can safely enjoy instead. Because the truth is, the same meal that protects one woman's heart can quietly harm another's. And the difference comes down to knowledge, the kind you'll have by the end of this video. Before we go on, I'd love to know something. Are you watching this for yourself or for someone you love? Type it in the comments below, it helps me know who I'm helping today. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Elder Care Wellness, where every week I share science-backed advice to help women over 60 live longer, feel stronger, and stay confident in their bodies. Because this video isn't about fear, it's about power. The power to choose better. The power to protect your heart, your memory, your future. So stay right here. Because the first fish we're about to talk about looks healthy, tastes amazing, and is sold in almost every supermarket across the country. But for women over 60, it can quietly accelerate memory loss faster than time itself. Let's begin with fish 1, King Mackerel, the silent mercury trap no one warns you about. Let's begin with the first fish on our list, one that almost every seafood lover has tried at least once. It is flavorful, rich, and often sold as a heart-healthy option. But for women over 60, it can quietly become one of the most dangerous choices on the plate. I am talking about King Mackerel. It sounds healthy, even elegant. You see it at restaurants on grill nights or wrapped neatly at the seafood counter with a label that says, "Good for the heart." But here is what most people don't realize. King mackerel is one of the highest mercury fish in the ocean. I remember one of my patients named Eleanor. She was 72, full of life, always the first to volunteer at her church. Every Sunday, she and her husband grilled king mackerel. It was a family tradition for over 20 years. She swore it kept them healthy. She said, "Dr. Lisa, it's fish. It's lean. It has omega-3s. It must be good for us." But a few years ago, Eleanor came to my office worried. She had been forgetting small things, names, appointments, even her grocery list. Her hands trembled slightly when she picked up her coffee cup. Her daughter thought it was normal aging, but I wasn't so sure. When we ran her tests, her mercury levels were 5 times higher than normal. 5 times. And what broke my heart was knowing she had been slowly poisoning herself with food she truly believed was helping her stay strong. That is what mercury does. It sneaks in quietly and hides in tissues where it does not belong: your brain, your liver, your kidneys. And as we age, those organs cannot flush it out as efficiently as they once did. According to the Mayo Clinic, even moderate mercury exposure over time can cause memory loss, numbness, tremors, and cardiovascular stress in older adults. Think of it like rust building up inside you. You don't see it at first, but over time it weakens the structure from within. Now here's where most people get confused. They mix up king mackerel with Atlantic mackerel. The names sound similar, but they are very different. Atlantic mackerel is smaller, lower in mercury, and actually a safe, heart-friendly choice. King mackerel, on the other hand, is larger lives, longer, and collects toxins every single year it is alive. By the time it reaches your dinner table, it carries a heavy load your body does not need. So how does mercury hurt you exactly? Think of your brain like a delicate electrical network. Mercury interferes with those tiny connections that keep your thoughts sharp, your reflexes quick, and your balance steady. Over time, that interference feels like premature aging, fatigue, forgetfulness, even anxiety. And the hardest part is that you cannot see it, smell it, or taste it. You only feel the results. That is why I tell all my patients it is not about how often you eat fish. It is about which fish you eat. If you have been choosing king mackerel because it is flavorful or affordable, you don't have to give up seafood entirely. You just need smarter swaps. Choose wild-caught salmon. It is rich in omega-3s, gentle on your body, and proven to support brain and heart health. Try sardines. They are small, they do not live long enough to collect mercury, yet they are full of nutrients and calcium. Or enjoy rainbow trout. It is mild, delicious, and one of the cleanest fish for women over 60. These options give you all the benefits you hoped for: stronger circulation, better focus, and lower inflammation without the silent risk of heavy metals. And if you have already been eating king mackerel for years, don't panic. The body can heal. Start by avoiding high mercury fish, add more antioxidants like leafy greens and citrus fruits, and stay hydrated. Over time, your system can naturally clear out what has built up. I often tell my patients awareness is medicine. The moment you know what is hurting you, you have already started healing. Now, I wish king mackerel were the only fish we had to worry about, but it is not. There is another one, far more common, that many older adults eat without realizing it is among the most contaminated fish in American waters. It often appears on restaurant menus under different names, especially in catch-of-the-day dishes. It tastes mild, it looks harmless, but it hides one of the highest mercury levels of any fish out there. In a moment, I will tell you exactly what it is and how to recognize it before it ever reaches your plate. Stay with me, because the next fish, called tilefish, is even more toxic than king mackerel, especially for women over 60. Now let's talk about the second fish on our list. This one is far more common than people think, and it often hides in plain sight. You may have eaten it without even realizing it. It sounds harmless, it looks light and delicate, but for older adults, It is one of the most toxic fish you can put on your plate. It is called tilefish. Picture this. You are out at a nice restaurant celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, or maybe just a special dinner with your family. The waiter comes by and says, "Tonight's special is our fresh catch of the day. It is a white, flaky fish grilled with lemon butter." You think that sounds healthy, that must be good for me. But what they do not tell you is that the fish could very well be tilefish, one of the most mercury-loaded fish in the ocean. According to research from the Food and Drug Administration, tilefish from the Gulf of Mexico can contain some of the highest mercury levels of any fish sold in the United States. In some samples, the concentration is even higher than king mackerel. And this is where it becomes dangerous for women over 60. Mercury does not just affect the body, it affects the brain. Over time, it can interfere with the way your nerves communicate, leading to confusion, balance problems, and even symptoms that mimic early dementia. I once had a patient named Laura. She was 67 and loved trying new restaurants. She often ordered fish because she wanted to eat clean and avoid red meat. But when her daughter noticed she was forgetting things more often and losing her sense of balance, she brought her in for an exam. Her mercury levels were almost 4 times above the safe range. The reason she had been unknowingly eating tilefish at least twice a month for years, labelled simply as whitefish on menus. This is the part that frustrates me most. Many restaurants use the name whitefish or catch of the day without telling you exactly what species it is. They are not required to specify unless you ask. That means you could think you are eating something safe like cod or haddock, when in fact you are eating tilefish. For older women, that small detail matters more than you think. As the liver and kidneys slow down with age, mercury accumulates faster. It does not take years of overconsumption to make a difference. Even small repeated exposures can build up silently until symptoms appear. So the next time you are dining out, do not be shy. Ask the waiter, what kind of fish is this exactly and where is it from? If they say tilefish or cannot answer, clearly choose another option. Safe alternatives include cod, haddock, or pollock. These fish are mild in taste, gentle on the digestive system, and low in mercury. They are safer choices that still let you enjoy the flavor of seafood without risking your memory or your heart. I know that for many women over 60, these details can feel overwhelming. You may wonder how you are supposed to remember all these names, which fish are safe, which ones are not. But here is the simple truth. Once you learn it, it becomes second nature. You will start to recognize patterns. The kinds of fish that live long and high in the food chain are the ones that store more mercury. The smaller, shorter-lived fish are almost always safer. And here is something else to remember. You do not have to give up your favorite meals. You only have to make small, intentional changes. That is how health works after 60. It is not about perfection, it is about awareness. Every time you choose wild, caught over farmed cod over tilefish, you are protecting your brain, your nerves, and your future independence. That is real self-care. Now we have covered king mackerel and tilefish, 2 of the biggest mercury offenders, but there is another fish that deserves special attention. It is one that sounds elegant, often appears on high-end menus, and is considered a luxury. Many people order it as a rare treat, without realizing that it can quietly load the body with even more toxins than the others. In the next part, I will tell you about this fish, why it is especially risky for women with high blood pressure or memory issues, and what you can choose instead to keep your mind and heart protected. Stay with me, because the next fish, swordfish, is elegant on the outside, but dangerous on the inside. The next fish on our list carries a name that sounds refined, almost luxurious. It is not something most people eat every week, but rather on special occasions. You might see it at a fine restaurant, maybe on a cruise dinner menu, or as a holiday treat. It feels like a healthy indulgence, rich and satisfying. But that sense of luxury can hide a quiet threat that women over 60 need to understand. I am talking about swordfish. The name itself sounds powerful, but what makes swordfish so appealing is also what makes it dangerous. Swordfish are large, long-living predators. They spend years near the top of the ocean's food chain, feeding on smaller fish that already contain mercury. The longer they live, the more mercury they absorb. By the time a swordfish lands on your plate, it can contain mercury levels high enough to cause harm even after a few servings a month. I once met a woman named Grace, 71 years old, who loved seafood dinners with her husband. For their 40th anniversary, they ordered swordfish steaks at their favorite restaurant. A few weeks later, she started feeling numbness in her hands and feet. She also noticed her sleep becoming restless and her focus fading during simple conversations. She thought she was just overtired, but her blood work told another story. Her mercury levels were dangerously high, and she did not eat seafood often, only on special occasions. That is how potent swordfish can be for older adults. Mercury does not leave the body easily. It lingers, especially in the brain and kidneys. Over time, this can cause nerve inflammation, slow thinking fatigue, and irregular heart rhythms. For women who already have high blood pressure, diabetes, or memory concerns, these effects can make everything worse. Some people believe that grilling or cooking fish at high heat can make it safer. Unfortunately, that is not true. Mercury does not cook out of fish. It is part of the tissue itself. Whether you bake it, grill it, or sear it, the mercury remains. The only solution is to choose fish that have less of it in the first place. If you enjoy the rich flavor of swordfish, there are safer alternatives that give you the same satisfaction without the risk. Trout, especially rainbow trout, has a similar firm texture, but a much cleaner profile. Another great option is pollock, a light, mild fish that cooks beautifully and is low in mercury. Both are easy on digestion and support heart health. They are the smarter choices for women over 60 who still want to enjoy seafood without worrying about hidden toxins. The key idea to remember is that the bigger and older the fish, the higher its mercury content. That is why smaller fish like sardines, salmon, and trout are your best allies. They live shorter lives, accumulate fewer toxins, and provide essential nutrients your body actually needs. I know it can be disappointing to hear that a food once considered healthy might now be risky. But this is how the body changes after 60. What was fine at 40 may not be fine today. Your body deserves gentler choices that keep your memory balance and circulation steady. Every meal can be a small act of care for your future self. Now we have discussed king mackerel, tilefish, and swordfish, 3 of the biggest mercury offenders. But not every danger in fish comes from mercury alone. Some fish bring a different problem altogether. They are raised in overcrowded environments, fed with chemical-filled pellets, and treated with antibiotics to keep them alive. And even though they may look healthy and taste good, those chemicals can slowly weaken your immune system and disrupt your hormones. In the next part, I will tell you about one of the most popular fish in grocery stores around the world, one that many people buy every week, believing it is the best source of omega-3s. The truth, however, is very different. Stay with me, because the next fish-farmed salmon might surprise you even more than the others. Now let's talk about the next fish on our list, one that shocks almost everyone. It is sold in nearly every grocery store, praised by doctors and diet books for its omega-3 content, and often considered the healthiest protein on the planet. But what many women over 60 do not know is that there are 2 very different kinds of salmon, and one of them can quietly harm your body in ways you would never expect. I am talking about farmed salmon. You have seen it before, the perfect pink fillet, sitting on ice, neatly wrapped, labeled as rich in omega-3. It looks clean and nourishing. But what the label does not tell you is how that fish was raised. Most farmed salmon spend their lives in crowded underwater pens, thousands of fish packed together, fed pellets made from low-quality ingredients. Those pens are breeding grounds for disease and parasites. To keep them alive, farmers often add antibiotics and chemicals to their feed. And to make the meat look bright pink, they use synthetic dyes. Without them, the flesh would be grey. The real danger, however, goes deeper. Studies from the Environmental Working Group and the Cleveland Clinic found that farmed salmon can contain high levels of PCBs and dioxins, industrial chemicals linked to cancer hormone disruption and immune system damage. For younger people, the body can filter out small amounts, but for women over 60 with slower metabolism and reduced detox capacity, these toxins accumulate faster. They can increase inflammation, worsen joint pain, and put additional stress on the heart. I remember a woman named Patricia, 69 years old, who came to see me because she could not figure out why her arthritis had suddenly worsened. She was eating healthy, or so she thought. She grilled salmon 3 times a week, always from her local market. When we reviewed her diet and traced the source, it turned out that the salmon she loved was farmed from overseas, from a supplier that used heavy antibiotic treatment. Within months of switching to wild-caught salmon, her inflammation markers improved and her energy began to return. That is the power of awareness. I am not saying salmon is bad. In fact, wild-caught salmon from Alaska or the Pacific Northwest remains one of the most beneficial foods you can eat. It is clean, high in omega-3s and low in contaminants. But the key difference lies in where it comes from. When you buy salmon, always look for wild caught on the label and avoid anything that says farm-raised, especially if it comes from countries with weak food safety standards. It may cost a few dollars more, but consider what that extra cost protects your brain, your joints, your heart, and your quality of life. Real health is not about saving a few cents today. It is about protecting yourself for years to come. Every time you make a wiser choice at the market, you are helping your body fight inflammation, improve circulation, and keep your hormones balanced. These small decisions repeated over time are what keep women vibrant in their 70s and beyond. Now that we have talked about mercury and chemical contamination, there is one final kind of fish that deserves mention. It is not because of toxins from the ocean, but because of where it is raised and how it reaches your table. It is a fish many of us grew up with, a symbol of comfort and family dinners. But imported versions of this fish today are not the same as they once were. In the next part, we will talk about the 6th and final fish on this list, one that feels nostalgic but can secretly bring dangerous bacteria and antibiotics into your body. Stay with me, because this last one, imported catfish, might be the most personal story of them all. The final fish on our list may surprise you the most, because for many families it is not just food, it is comfort. It reminds us of Sunday dinners, family gatherings, and moments of togetherness. It is a dish passed down from one generation to another. I am talking about catfish. There is nothing wrong with catfish itself. In fact, when it is raised properly, it can be a healthy, protein-rich choice. But the danger comes from where it is raised and how. Imported catfish, especially those coming from parts of Asia and South America, are often produced in unregulated fish farms with poor sanitation and questionable feeding practices. These farms use antibiotics and chemicals to prevent disease in overcrowded ponds. Many of these antibiotics are banned in the United States because they are linked to antibiotic resistance and other long-term health issues. I remember a man named Robert who cooked fried catfish every weekend for his wife. It was their tradition for 30 years. He switched to imported frozen catfish when prices went up, thinking it was the same thing. But within months, his wife, who was 70, started having recurring stomach infections that would not heal easily. Her immune system was weaker, and those antibiotic-resistant bacteria hit her hard. She recovered, but it was a harsh reminder that even comfort foods can become risky when we do not know their source. For older adults, this kind of risk can be serious. The immune system is slower to react, the gut barrier is weaker, and what might cause mild discomfort in a younger person can lead to dangerous infection in someone over 65. That is why it is so important to know where your fish comes from. If you enjoy catfish, choose US farm-raised. The American standards for aquaculture are much stricter, with clean water-regulated feed and limited antibiotic use. And no matter where your fish is from, make sure it is cooked thoroughly. Well-cooked catfish can still be a healthy comfort food when prepared safely. This is the heart of what I want you to take away today. Protecting your health after 60 is not about fear or restriction. It is about intention. Every small choice you make, every label you read, every question you ask at a restaurant adds up to years of clearer thinking, stronger immunity, and better energy. Let us take a moment to look back. We talked about 6 types of fish. Older adults should avoid each for a different reason. King Mackerel because of its high mercury content. Tilefish because it hides under other names. Swordfish elegant but toxic. Farmed salmon because of chemical contamination. And imported catfish because of antibiotic exposure. Each one may seem harmless, but together they remind us how important awareness really is. This is not about giving up fish. It is about choosing smarter. Choose wild-caught salmon, sardines, cod, or trout. They are clean, nourishing, and gentle on the body. Your meals should build your health, not slowly break it down. I know that changing habits can feel difficult, especially when these foods carry memories, but your health and peace of mind are worth it. You still have time to feel strong, to think clearly, to protect your heart, and enjoy life fully. And before we close, let me remind you this video is for educational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice. Every woman's body is unique. If you are experiencing pain changes or health concerns, please consult your healthcare provider. Your well-being deserves personal care. If you found this helpful, please take a moment to like this video so it can reach another woman who needs it. Leave a comment below telling me which of these fish surprised you most. And subscribe to Elder Care Wellness for more science-based guidance every week. You deserve to live your later years with clarity, confidence, and health. And it all begins with one small choice made from awareness and love. Stay healthy, stay informed, and I will see you in the next video.